morning and welcome to the ABAP and HANA Made Easy course. And this is the second class where we are going to learn so many things which is going to improve our knowledge, and it's going to be important in order to understand about the HANA and how to use effectively HANA. Before starting the today's session, let's have a quick recap what we have learned in our last session, and then we will go ahead and see about the today's session. In last session, we understood about why HANA was required. Then we saw what is the meaning of HANA, what is HANA. After that, we have seen the different components or a specification of HANA. Then we have also understood about the digital core, what is actually digital core stands for. We understood how HANA is powerful because it is having the so many processor, and again the so many processor is having so many different cores. We understood about the sidecar scenario, understood the concept of ADBC, how with the help of ADBC the HANA database was connected. Also understood how a standalone HANA came into picture with NetWeaver BW 7.31 version. How HANA was possible with the help of hardware and software evolution. This HANA was possible. We have seen in very much detail about the hardware evolution and software evolution. We also discussed about the benefits of column storage. Also, we have seen how the change document management work with the help of insert only approach so effectively. We have seen when to use the row storage and when to use the column storage. If any one of you have missed the study session, please go through the study session. I have uploaded that one on YouTube. From tomorrow onwards, I will be giving you the Google Drive link where you will be able to access the content. Today's session also I'll be uploading the YouTube, but from tomorrow onwards, the Google Drive link where I'm going to upload the session, you will be able to get the access with your email ID, not on YouTube. Fine. Today's session, we are going to start with the HANA architecture. We will just understand in summarized way very quickly about the HANA architecture. HANA contains the application server. In this application server is having the access engine. Access stands for extra small, X extra and S small. It contains the extended server native HANA. So if you know about the HANA, HANA also contains the server. It's capable of doing the business processing. So suppose if you don't want to install the ECC and you want to implement HANA itself in your business, that's possible without ECC because it is having the access engine. Okay. But however, the ECC functionality you are having on the application server that you will not be able to leverage from here because ECC different business suite. That business suite is not implemented, but here you can process the business logic. That means you will be able to write the program, you will be able to execute them on the HANA server. Okay. HANA is having two types of access engine. One is known as the Access Classic and another is known as the Access Advanced. It supports Node.js and Java as well. HANA is having a component called index server. This is very important component. Index server is very important component. It is a true DB. This index server is the heart of the DB, we can tell. This is heart and mind. This is heart and soul of the DB. Very important. Okay. It contains the SQL optimizer, MDX tool for BI or BW. It contains the planning scenario. It is having the security check. It is Also having the row storage and column storage, a way of storing how this management of doing the row store and column store is happened inside the index server. Name server is again another important component. What is the meaning of name server? Name server, actually, let's try to understand over here. Let's suppose you are having a big organization. So in big organization, you would certainly require the large HANA server, right? So when you are having the large HANA server, different instances of HANA will be installed in a single HANA server. Okay. So here you can see that we are having the HANA 1. Here we are having the HANA 2, and here we are having the HANA 3, and here we are having the HANA 4. That means these are the different instances of same HANA server. In the single HANA database, the different instances of same HANA server is there. Now, when the request comes to the HANA server, okay, now, when the request comes to the HANA server, and suppose this instance is busy, then what it will do that, let's suppose the request is coming to, fetch the data or write the data, right? If suppose this instance is completely busy, completely occupied, then what the name server will do that it will identify that HANA 1 is very much busy, and it will redirect the instruction, it will redirect the load to the unoccupied instances. So here you can see that these three instances are unoccupied. The name server will redirect, you know, to HANA 3 or HANA 4 or HANA 2, any one of these, whichever it will find more suitable, it will just redirect. So it does the load balancing. Okay? It does the load balancing. I have got some question here. Okay, fine. Thanks. Yeah. So here we understood about the name server. Now we are having the script server. So I know that every database supports its own native language. Okay. So how this native language is going to get compiled and executed at the database layer? That is possible with the help of a script server. A script server compiles the languages with the help of application function library that is known as AFL. PAL, predictive analysis library, very much important in order to improve the performance. This PAL, predictive analysis library. And then we are having the extended machine library. This is going to be useful when you are going to write the machine learning algorithm. It also supports the R language. Python also supports the R language. Okay. Now we are having the document store server, the big data, right? So suppose if you have to upload or if you have to store large amount of data, the HANA is having a server called document store server, which is going to store the data. Okay. Will we cover EML? No, we will be covering this in this. Okay. EML course will not be covered over here. Okay. Fine. So document store server, it is having the preprocessor server and also the statical server. So whenever something is going to get executed, before that, it has to get pre-processed. So that's what the preprocessor server we are having. Okay. Here we are having the statical server, and then also we are having the integration layer. Integration layer is helpful to integrate with the outside world. For example, if you want to integrate your system with Facebook, or you want to integrate your system with Twitter, or if you want to integrate your system with Outlook, this integration layer is going to help over there. We are having life cycle management tool, LM. What is the life cycle management? Meaning of life cycle management. is related with something which you are something which is related with installation, update. Here you can see the installation, update, and if you want to uninstall, then that also it is possible. That is the meaning of life cycle management. It has also the provisioning tool. So suppose if you want to migrate the data from legacy database to the HANA database, this provisioning tool is going to help over here. Okay. Now let's quickly have a look on the HANA evolution and releases. What are the different HANA revolution we are having, and how in the different releases it we are having some specific feature. Very first release was 1.0 SPS0. This was a free release. There was no business for the SAP for this because it was a free release. Just SAP wanted to introduce with their customer. Okay. So this was a marketing release. Then after the first paid version came up with the SPS0, it was a general availability, the first paid version with the SPS01. Then SPS02, the site scenario, what we discussed, that was possible with the help of SPS02. The first standalone BW on HANA came into picture with NetViewer 7.31 with release SPS03. With SPS4, the flat file data provisioning came into picture. The meaning of flat file data provisioning means that if you want to migrate the data from the Oracle to HANA, you can get the data into the flat file, that means the text file, and you can upload directly into the HANA server. With SPS05, Direct DXC is a tool which extracts the data from the legacy and put into the HANA extract connection. SPS06, HANA was directly started getting used. ECC on HANA, very, very important release. Okay. The business suite on HANA. Okay. The business suite on HANA. The legacy database were removed and HANA installed as a database. That was known as the business suite on HANA. The stand-alone HANA with ECC, very important interview questions as well. With which release ECC directly installed on HANA server. With which release SAP directly installed, ECC directly installed on HANA server. This can be a very good question, that with which release ECC got installed directly at HANA server. So the answer is, SPS06, release 1.0, release 1.0 with SPS06. With which SPS? This is installed directly at HANA server. Very important, this one, just remember this. Then with SPS07, we were having the concept of a smart data access. Smart data access. So you have the big HANA server, right? Here, let's suppose you are having the HANA server. Now this HANA want to communicate with a different databases, like MongoDB, right? Then you have big Mango. Then suppose if you have some another DB, let's suppose Oracle, there can be different kind of different DB. So because and Hadoop, right? Hadoop. There are many different big DBs. There are many other DBs with which suppose if this HANA wants to get connect and want to get access their data. The virtualization, there is a concept called virtualization. With the help of virtualization, HANA can access their data here directly without, without like without getting installed this Mango or Oracle directly in SAP. So HANA can access the data from the different DB. That is possible with the help of SDA. This is known as the smart data access. Data is getting accessed smartly with the help of virtualization from the HANA server to the different DB server. AMDP, ABAP managed database procedure. We will see in more detail that was possible with SPS07, and the job scheduling also was possible. SPS08, the Swiss Linux plus Red Hat Linux. So Red Hat Linux already that this Swiss Linux was supporting the HANA DB, but with SPS08, this Red Hat Linux started supporting also the HANA DB installation, right? Then with SPS09, multi DB containers got introduced with SPS10, high availability plus disaster recovery option were available. With SPS 11, extra small server HANA access came into picture, and with SPS 12, workload analysis and distribution, right? That the name server came into picture. After that, in 2.0, with release 2.0, we are having the SPS00, the enhanced security. Then with SPS01, the document server got introduced. With SPS02, the machine learning related stuff, machine learning, the platform on which the machine learning is developed, that name is the TensorFlow, right? That was also supported with SPS02. With SPS03 and SPS04, the enhanced security, you know, got like came into the picture. I'm getting some question. Let me check over here. So the question is breaking. Okay, I think this is a problem from your side because other people is able to hear me properly, I believe. Somesh is asking which year release 2.0 was. Okay, I'm not sure about the year, but I think this was there somewhere 2016. Okay, need to check this one. Year I don't remember. Okay, now let's try to understand over here about the business suite on HANA versus S4HANA. Okay, this is a very important concept over here. The people gets confused. What is ECC ERP? What is business suite on HANA? And what is S4HANA? Let's try to understand this concept. As we know that we are having the three-tier architecture, already we have seen many times. Presentation server, application server, and here we are having the database server. With ECC ERP architecture, here we used to have the non-HANA DB. Okay. When this particular HANA DB, all this architecture remains same. When this HANA DB gets, when this non-HANA DB like Max, Sybase, Informix, and all got replaced with the database server like HANA DB, then this become business suite on HANA. Means everything is same over here from ECC, only this database got replaced over here. Only the database got replaced. The application server is same. There is no change in the program and table at the application server layer. Only change at the database layer. Database was replaced with the HANA DB, and that was known as the business suite on HANA. In S4 HANA, from ECC, the HANA, this is also one change if you compare with this ECC, the conventional ECC, right? This also got changed, and here also it got changed. Application server layer also got changed. The program were restructured. Database table also were restructured in order to have more compatibility, in order to leverage more power from HANA DB. because this HANA, we know that in-memory column-oriented relational database management system it is. It is very powerful because it is having the multi-core processor support, and it is there in the InDB, and the column storage capacity also is there. So the SAP wanted to leverage the power of HANA. Earlier application server architecture was not that much efficient to leverage the power of HANA. So what SAP did that it restructured their program and the database table in order to you know get maximum benefit from this HANA database server, right? So at two layer, at application server layer also changes happen, and database layer obviously the HANA DB if you compare with the ECC ERP. If you compare with the business suite on HANA, database remains same as a HANA DB. At application server layer, these changes in terms of program and data table taken place. Hope you are getting the concept. If you have any doubt, please feel free to ask over here. Dedeep is asking SAP screens transaction change in S4 HANA. Yes, SAP screens transaction change. See, the SAP screens and transaction change not at the transaction level. Some screens earlier also, for example, if you know about the Android transaction and all, right? This were earlier also. It is not due to S4 HANA. In S4 HANA mainly, uh, the program level here, the program level and the table level. For example, if you consider about the table in the next slides, I have written over here that in ECC or business suite on HANA, you can see that MSEG for material management related, we were having the table called MSEG. Okay. We were having the table called MKPF. Okay. We were having the table Mara, Marcy, Mardi. We know all this table very well. Mara, Marcy, and Mardi in the ML. Right? There are so many tables. Okay. Many tables together got converted into a single table called MatDoc in the S4 HANA. So in S4 HANA architecture, go and check all these tables, are still there, but getting you this MatDoc. Why this table? If you go and check this table, for example, if you go and check for the Marcy table, I will show you over here. Let me share my SAP screen. So here, if you just go and check, go to /sc11 and go here this Marcy. So now this Marcy table, if you go to extra over here and check this replacement object, here the replacement object is nstm underscore e underscore Marcy. Okay, so this Marcy is not actual database table at the HANA database here. So if you see here nsdm underscore e underscore Marcy, this is the replacement object. So when you are going to put any select query on Marcy, it not work directly on Marcy because in S4 HANA this Marcy table is not there. For this replacement object is getting used. What is this replacement object? This is nothing but a CDS view corresponding to this table. So if you double click over here, nsdm underscore e underscore Marcy, I'll just copy it over here and go back and put it over here and click on this display button. Okay. So you can see that use ADT tools in Eclipse for processing CDS view entities, right? It's telling that you will not be able to open this particular replacement object because it is a CDS view entities. You will be able to open this one in the Eclipse. Okay, I will show you all these things in detail. Here, let's go and check about the corresponding CDS view. So NSTM underscore V underscore Marcy, I think. Let me check this. No object corresponding to this. So, wait, NSDM just port Marcy. So what we are having over here, Marcy. Actually, there is a corresponding CDS view, NSDM underscore V underscore Marcy that underscore V underscore. So this is the corresponding CDS view for that particular Marcy table. Okay, so if you double click on this DDL source, you will be able to see this particular CDS over here. So now when you are going to put the select query on Marcy table, actually this view is going to get executed. Okay, not the one which you are, means it's not going to directly put the select query on Marcy table. So there are some technical changes, the technical restructuring taken place, and that's why it is there. So all these tables got combined together and mat table was introduced in S4HANA. So if you see in S4HANA, how many fields are there in the mat table, you will see here there are 340 fields in MacDoc table, right? So, and if you see this Mara table, right, 312 fields, right? So there are so many common fields between Mara table, Marcy table, MyD table. When all got combined together, the field became 312 to 340. The reason behind that, there are so many common fields as well were present there. That's why, uh, uh, a very less increment it happened. And on the other side, like it's very costly to maintain the different tables, right? For a developer also to put the different query, put the inner join and all, put the for all entries and all, if you have the different table, right? When you have to segregate the data from the different table, you have to write on this thing. But when we are having, a single table for developer also, it's going to be easy. And the dimensions also becomes easy. And on the other hand, because of this S4 HANA is having its own capacity, the MacDoc table has been developed in such a way that it can leverage the power of a HANA. So you understood over here that in S4 HANA, the architecture at the program and table level completely, not completely, but there are many things got changed, right? So example we have seen. Here we are having the FICO example. In FICO, the maximum table, maximum fundamental tables got converted into the AC domain, right? Now let's go ahead and see some important, very important stuff. Here, this is very important for an ABAPer. Whatever we have learned till now, this architecture, this SPS relays are not that much important. This is important in order to understand as a developer. This is also important, and this is very important. When you are decided that you have to move from ECC to S4HANA or Business Suite on HANA, because your database is going to get changed, what you are, what are the different measurement, what are the different points you have to take care, right, at the code level. Okay, so the very first point what you will have to take care is that you will have to take care of the native SQL. Right? You will have to take care of the native SQL. So why we are talking about the native SQL, take care of native SQL. Why it is important to take care? You are migrating from Oracle to HANA. Let's suppose you are migrating from Oracle to HANA DB over here, right? You know that All these database is having their own native SQL. Right? All this database is having their own native SQL. Oracle is having its own native SQL. HANA is having its own native SQL. Native SQL means the SQL language which will be understood by the database, right? So Oracle native SQL will not be understood by HANA DB and vice versa. Okay. So now, now suppose you have written some native SQL over here. How we write the native SQL? We know that how we write the native SQL as an ABAP. You might have written, right? Exec SQL and end exec. In this particular syntax you would have used when you have to write the native SQL. So suppose today my system is here on the Oracle server and I have written some select query, select query specific to Oracle, right? And when tomorrow I'm migrating this Oracle to HANA DB, this particular native SQL will not work. It will go into down. You will also not will be able to check the you will not be able to check the syntax as well because it ignores the native SQL syntax or the application server layer, right? So what I'm trying to tell it over here, for example, let's go and write one small program. Okay. So jet jet MB 21st AOH 1 SQL here the executable program. So this system is already here on the HANA database, right? So it will support only the native SQL related with the HANA database. If you write the native SQL related with the Oracle, no, it will not support. Okay. So what I am trying to tell over here, if you have, exec SQL and end exec over here, and if you write some select query, or if you did do some mistake over here in the select start from Mara into table at the rate. So if you put at the rate and all, it will not work because it's a new open SQL. It's an inline declaration. At the native SQL level, we don't have the inline declaration concept as of now for the HANA at least. So select start from Mara into table. You will have to define the internal table over here. Data item underscore Mara. Type table of Mara. So into table it underscore Amara. And here, because you are referring this variable, so as a native SQL, you will have to use like this. Okay. We check the syntax over here. It underscore Amara cannot be table or a reference and cannot contain either of these objects or a string. Okay. So there is some problem over here. Let me check. Just remove here. You can see that it's giving some error over here into not specified where context no longer supported over here. So suppose if I want to show you some example over here, let's go to the documentation and from there directly we will take it. It's giving some error over here. So press F1 and from there we will take some example directly. Take this example. Okay. So here maybe we can take this much, just copy this, close this one and paste it over here. So here you can see that the exec SQL, this is fine, that 2 times we can remove from here. Yeah. So here you can see that internal table concept, internal table, it's not getting supported. However, it just support the work area. Work area we can use. That's what we will the mistake. WA type Mara. Now you can just put it here. Comment this one, and here select the star from into, and here you can see that how you are writing the native SQL, right? You have to write the structure. So, and you'll have to give the reference variable over here, right? So select a star from Mara into a structure. This, let us see if it's getting supported or not. Check the syntax over here. W is invalid, contains invalid character, or it is. So the same approach we have to take it. It's very, tightly, it's checking very tightly over here, right? So actually it should be inside exec SQL and end exec. Yeah, check the syntax over here, and now you can see that when you are putting inside the exec SQL and end exec, there is no error because this is the native SQL. Now, if you want to print this one, here you can just print, right? So check the syntax, activate this one, activate this, and press effect. And here it's just printing over here. What actually I'm trying to tell over here that if you have some syntax related things between exec SQL and end exec, while checking the syntax, it will not give you the proper error, or sometimes it will just ignore, because what the system assumes that whatever you have written over here, it will execute at a runtime. Okay. So this execution takes place at runtime, not at compile time. Because it takes place at runtime, so it just ignores, the syntax check between exec SQL and end exec. Okay. So now, if you have written some native SQL with respect to Oracle over here, and now you are migrating to HANA DB, right? So you will, it will not give you the error at syntax check level, but it will directly go into dump. Okay, when you will run at HANA DB level, it will go into dump because the system will not understand that at runtime the native SQL what you have written over here. So that's what you will have to take care first. You will have to take care of the native SQL. So convert the native SQL into HANA native SQL if you are migrating to HANA. Otherwise, it will go into down. Otherwise, it will go into down. Very important. Now, the second point, what we have to take care. Suppose for improving the performance, if you have written some SQL hint, or if you have written some DB hint, you have to take care those as per HANA DB hint, because if it is some, suppose we are earlier there on the Oracle DB, so the hint will be written as on that as per Oracle DB. When the code will migrate to the HANA DB, that particular DB hint will not work over here because it is the HANA DB. HANA DB will not understand that particular DB hint. How that DB hint looks like, we know that whenever we have to give some hint, we put into the double quotes, and then it starts with percentage, then underscore, and we write the, in capital we write the hints over here, and we give the database name. For example, if it is Oracle, if it is, HANA HDB, or if it is MS SQL, we can give the MS SQL. And then we have to write in single quotes the hint, the actual hint. There are so many different kind of hints for improving the performance, or to take the decision at a runtime, you know. So for example, like if you have the for all entries there written in your select query, right? And you want that for all entry to get avoided and it to work, you know, as usual, then probably you can use such kind of hint over here as what I'm writing over there. You know. So DB hint specify DB hints change the behavior at runtime when any select query happens, you know, at the database layer. So DB hint, if you have used at application server layer in your program, you have to take care. However, it will not give you down, but it will not work at the same time. You know, means for whatever purpose you have written your DB in, it will not work. However, it is now however it is not a so stopper. Where it is not a so stopper. That means it will not give a down. Okay. So need to take care of to take care of the security program here, right? So this is two important point. Another important point what we have, the very important point, you know, suppose you have there the select query like this, select some, for example, if suppose we are having here some data like this. Okay. In your database table, let's suppose you are having the sales order table. Okay, this sales order table, it's your order ID, BBL, and here you are having some quantity field. So for order ID, let's suppose this order ID is 1001, we are having 1002, we are having 1003, we are having 1004, and we are having 1005 over here, right? Quantity over here we are having, for example, let's suppose 500 kg. Then here we are having the 600. Then we are having the 200. And here again we are having some 400. And here we are having, let's suppose, uh, the 100. And here let's suppose one quantity maybe 100, and here, yeah, it's fine. Yeah, so what actually I'm trying to tell it over here, let's suppose this is your sales order table. The name of the sales order table is VPK. You have written the query like this in your ECC system, right? What kind of query you have written? You have written select order underscore ID from VBAK. You are willing to select order underscore ID from VBAK into some internal table, maybe IT underscore order, where quantity is greater than, or maybe here let's put less than 200. What will happen actually that it may give you the wrong result if you are migrating to the HANA database, right? What your expected result over here? What will be the expected order ID over here? For having the less than 100, put it over here in the chat box. What will be the expected order underscore ID from the BBAK table when we are going to put into IT underscore order and when quantity is going to be less than 200. Okay. So what will be your answer? So here the answer I'm getting, it should be Order ID 1001 and 1005. Perfect answer. Yeah, that is perfect. But HANA may give you the wrong result. I have seen in many practical example in practical test case, in practical cases also. If you are there on the Oracle DB or Max DB or on another DB, it will give you the right result. But with HANA, we can't expect the result 1001 and 1005. You know, always it is having, not the consistent result. It will always give you 1001. Why it gives always 1001? I believe, as per my understanding, as per my understanding, yeah, Jaydev, you are right. As per my understanding, what it happens that HANA understand that this quantity field is already sorted. Okay, HANA understands that this particular quantity field is already sorted, and whenever it finds that 200, just before that, whatever the entry is there, just it gives that one. It does not give 1001 and 1005 both. It will always give you 1001 in this case, but not 1005. But on another database server, you don't have to bother. I have never faced such kind of issue, or even, you know, if you are there on the non-HANA database, such kind of issue will not face. You will be able to get both the answer. You don't have to sort this quantity field necessarily. You don't have to sort it. Uh, you don't have to sort the quantity field, necessarily on another DB. Here on HANA DB, you must have to sort. So what you will write over here? Order by quantity, you must have to write. So whenever you have such kind of select query, make sure that you put order by on the field where it's getting compared. This is very important as an upper. Okay. This is a very good interview questions as well. Fourth point. See, whenever you are converting any non-HANA DB to the HANA DB, already the concept of pool table and cluster table, right? So when you are having the pool table and cluster table, pool table means inside a big table, small tables are present at the database layer. Cluster table means there are many different big tables are logically related in a single table at the database layer. Okay. So these are the pool table and these are the cluster table. As an ABAPer, we already know this concept. Now, whenever moving from Oracle database or Max database or any non-HANA database to the HANA database, in that case, it is good practice to convert the pool table and cluster table into transparent table wherever it is possible. There is a myth that pool table and cluster table is not supported by HANA system. This is not true. Pool table and cluster table, even you don't convert, there is no problem. But if you want to gain the maximum performance from the HANA, it's better practice to convert the pool table and cluster table into the transparent table. And this particular activity is not the responsibility for an ABAPer, but it is the combined activity of ABAPer and HANA admin team or the basis team. Okay, so good to, not mandatory, but it's good to convert the full table or cluster table into, transparent table. Transparent table, that means one-to-one relationship between application server and the maximum tables are there, you know, the transparent table only. And in HANA, the most of the table, like almost all the tables are transparent table, because this is okay. Ridhan is having one question. Do we have any pool table from SAP in HANA? Yes, we have. Yeah, you can go and check in DD0 12. A hard in using select star on HANA DB. Yes, you are not supposed to use select star on HANA DB. Yesterday we have discussed. All right. So all these questions, if you have any such kind of doubts, we will be discussing just after the session. Okay. So select a star is not recommended on HANA DB at all. If you have the fields more than 10, you know. Why? You know that because see, again, it depends. Like you will have to go and check what kind of a storage it is there over, right? If the way of a storage is column, you are not supposed to use select a star at all. It's very costly. But if it is the row storage, and if you need select a star, if you really need, even in row storage also, it is not recommended to use select star, right? As a ABAP performance practice, we all know that avoid select star, right? We must have to avoid the select star, whether it is the row storage or column storage. But select star is very, very performance effective in case of row storage. But if it is the column storage, select star is disaster. So don't use select star if it is way of storage is column. Okay. Hope it's clear for you. Now let's go ahead. Go to convert the pool table and cluster table into the transparent table. Now the fifth point, what we have is, you know, if you have created some secondary index on your existing DB in order to improve the performance, you can remove those secondary index. Okay, because HANA, if your table is there in the column oriented fashion, then secondary index is not required, because the column storage way of storing the data itself behaves like a secondary index, you know. So you can remove the secondary index on the table if way of if the table is column store. Okay. If the table is column store. So these are some important point which we have. Okay. Now some important point related with performance. Okay. Performance guideline for SAP HANA. Performance guidelines for SAP HANA. Whatever the performance guidelines we are having for another database, all those are already included in SAP HANA, as well as extra guidelines what we are having, that also will have to take care, right? At application server layer, as we all know that inside the loop, another loop we are not supposed to use, right? Inside the loop, don't use the select query, right? Whenever you are going to read the internal table for a specific row, use the binary search in case if you are having the large amount of data, right? Then use the secondary index on internal table when you have the large amount of data. Don't use the delete statement inside the loop and end loop. There are several performance performance measure techniques are there on the ABAP layer, on the application server layer. All those techniques are true. All those ABAP performance techniques are true here as well. There are some more points in case of SAP HANA, you know, that we need to know over here, right? So what is the those points specific to SAP HANA? right? So here the points which we are going to write, this is true for another database as well, but in case of SAP HANA database, the little change you might realize. For example, let's start from here. The very first point is that keep the result set small. This is true for older DB also. Keep result set small. How you can keep the result set small, right? The question is how you can keep the result set small. The answer over here is the first, use the where condition, right? So when you are going to put the select query, use the where condition, right? In the where condition, if you can use the key field, of course it's going to be beneficial, right? Because in the key fields primary index gets created automatically, right? So use the where condition. If you want to keep the result set small, another important point is that use the aggregate function. Use the aggregate function. So if you are going to use the sum, mean, max, sum, result, average, these are the aggregate function. Here, one important point. The second point, the first point is true for both kind of DB, HANA or non-HANA. Second point is true only for HANA DB, not for non-HANA DB. Okay, not for non-HANA DB, not non-HANA DB. Okay, this is not true for non-HANA DB. Not true for non-HANA DB. We're not supposed to use the aggregate function if you don't have the HANA DB. Okay, if you don't have the, if you have the HANA DB, then only use the aggregate function at the application server layer, because HANA is made for aggregation. At aggregation, HANA is made for aggregation, because the maximum table which is having the quantity and currency field is having the column storage, a way of storing the data, right? That's why the aggregate function is very important over here, right? We can use the aggregate function. Now in the third point, how you can keep the result set small, you can use the check, you can use the exit statement at the database layer. Okay, you can use the check statement, you can use the exit statement at the SQL script layer. Suppose if you are creating some stored procedure, you are creating some uh, any kind of program which is getting the data from the database layer, right? So there you will have to use the check or exit statement, so that whenever any validation fails, it does not take the data. Okay, so this also we can use check and exit over here. Now the second point over here, okay, minimize the number of database hit. Okay. Minimize the number of database hit. So for earlier DB also, for the old DB also, this particular statement is true, right? How we used to avoid the multiple hit on the database table, right? So when we used to write the code, we were strictly told that don't write the select statement inside the loop. The same here is also true. Okay. So don't store, don't write the, so how you can achieve this one? So don't write the select inside the loop. You don't have to write the select query inside the loop in case of HANA DB also, because this is what happens here. If you have the HANA DB, here you have the application server, right? So whenever the control transfers from the application server to the HANA DB, the network communication happens, because this application server is connected with the network, this network, and this, and if something is coming over here, again coming over here, again coming over here for the same thing, right? Suppose if you have to take 10 shops from market, and you are going to market, you are just getting one shop coming to your home, again going to market and taking another shop coming to home, again going to market and taking third shop and coming to home, right? So why don't you take all the shops in one go and come to your home, right? Your turn around time, your communication time, your traveling time, you know gets increased if you are going to, if the control is coming over here again and again from application to database server. So complete your work in one go itself. That's why don't write the same inside the loop, because the network load increases, because the network increases. So turnaround time increases, right? The second point, minimize the number of database hit. What you can do, use the inner join, right? Or for all entries. Suppose if you have to get the data from the two table, so what you can do, you can use the inner join or for all entries in HANA database, right? Inner join is preferred. Inner join is preferred. However, in for all entries, we are having the concept of fast data access. You can enable the fast data access, by telling to your basis people, and then for all entries also will work faster in that case if you have the HANA DB and if you have enabled the fast data access. There is a parameter that we have set over there. So enable fast data access. This concept we'll discuss in more about this fast data access. Okay. Now another point, you know, another point what we have is the third point, minimize the data set. Minimize the data set means don't use select a star. Whatever the fields required, use those only. Okay. So don't use the select a star. Use the required fields only. Now, another important point that you will have to minimize the database overhead. The fourth point, this is again very important. Minimize the database search overhead. So how you can do this one? You can enable the index, or you can store. See here we have the 2 points. If you have the column storage way of storing the data, right? HANA supports both row and column storage, right? So if it is the column storage, don't bother. It will, indexing will be taken care. But if row storage, you are supposed to take care of index. If required, just create the secondary index. Okay. If requires, create the secondary index. So these are the 4 points which we are having. In tomorrow's session, we are going to learn about how we can improve the SAP performance. We are having the various tools, for example, SQL Monitor, SQL Display, SQLM, SQLD, right? Then We will see about the static code check. We'll be also looking into the runtime performance check, for example, ST05 and ST12 and SE30. So tomorrow's session is mainly dedicated about the SAP performance, and then after day after tomorrow we'll be starting with the new open SQL. Okay, we will be starting with the different code push down approaches. So our fundamental will be set by tomorrow completely, and then after we'll be digging down to the you know different way of code push down in order to leverage the power of HANA. With this, I'm done for the today's class. If you have any question, just feel free to ask over here. I will be happy to give the answer. Any question you can ask. Mahesh is asking the question, can we use the aggregate function to header table? Yes, of course, you can use it over here. Yes, aggregate function, you can use it over here, but I don't think so you would require to use aggregate over here, right? For what kind of data? Suppose if you have some currency, so like generally we have to sum up the sales order quantity for a particular sales order. So generally we use the aggregate function for item label tables. But if you have you know if you want to sum up the data from BBAK, of course you can do it. Just go and check if it is the column storage, you know. But how there is no currency quantity field not available. BBAK currency quantity EKQ. If it is not there, why to use, right? Aggregation is only made for if it is a numeric field. So if you have to perform some numeric field, and if the table is the column store, you can obviously use the aggregate function. You know, you can obviously use here. You can go and check how you can check it. You can go here in SC11 and check first how the data is getting stored over here. VBAK F7. Go to the technical settings. DB specific properties. You can see that column storage. Right? So to determine whether you are supposed to write aggregate function or not, first thing, just go and check how the data is storage, column storage, and obviously because this is a column storage, your database is going to be the HANA database. So you are free to use the aggregate function. You are 100% free to use the aggregate function. In fact, you are recommended to use the aggregate function. You are supposed to use the aggregate function in this case. It will give you the better performance. HANA is very powerful. Yeah. Any other question if you have? Okay. SC Docker table is available in suite on HANA. Okay. Few HANA table are visible, but no data. Yes, you are right. Yeah. So see, if you just go and in the suite on HANA, if you go to the S4 HANA actually, there you will be able to see the data, because in S4 HANA these tables are active, you know, and data is getting populated in the S4 HANA. Okay, again, it depends on the version. If the full version is there or not, and S4HANA, the complete functionality is activated or not. If S4HANA, the complete activation and functionalities are there, then SC Docker, My Docker, 100% will get the data over here. Let's go and check over here. This is the test system. However, let us see if we have some data or not. My Docker. Yeah, you can see that 1068 entries are populated over here. Similarly, if you go and check the AC Docker, so this is the S4 HANA system. See here, 14,557. So here, if you want to check whether your system is S4 HANA or Business Super HANA, you can just go to the status and go to the product version, and here you will be having the S4 code, something called S4 code you will be having. Go here is install product version. And here you can see that S4HANA on-premise. Okay, this is the on-premise version. There are two kinds of version, on-premise and on-premise. We will see that particular concept in our coming classes. S4HANA on-premise, this is the local system, right? So with this, if you have any another question, just let me know, or we will just stop it over here.